Hello, everyone, and welcome to this training. My name is Stephanie. I am your standing IEP coach and veteran special education teacher here to talk to you today about organizing all of that special education paperwork. I'm going to show you some resources, and I'm going to show you some other things. Everything is going to be linked below this video in the video description. So make sure you check that out. If you see anything or you want to check anything further out, there's lots of links to check out there once you finish watching this training. I'm so excited that you're here because organizing and kind of keeping tabs on all of the paperwork is kind of my jam. I love the paperwork that comes along with special education. I know I'm one of the paperwork weirdos, and that's okay. I've completely claimed it. I am here for it, and I'm here to help you take control over all of the piles and piles and piles of paperwork. I will say I still do have piles and piles of paperwork, but it's much more organized in a fashion that I know where things are and they're not misplaced everywhere and I don't have to go searching for them. So I'm going to show you a lot of different things today. Buckle in. Let's get ready to go. The very first thing that I want to share with you is an IEP caseload management binder. Now, this binder is for you. You can use any of the ones with any of the themes that I have created, which are all linked below this training, or you can kind of create one of your own or mix and match pieces and just throw things in a binder however you would like or however you choose. And so I'm going to show you just this one today because this is one of my favorite themes that we have. And so this is just the IEP caseload binder. This is for you. This is where you're going to keep all of your good, juicy caseload information inside one place. Again, this is your binder to keep track of everything. I also like to keep all of my original files for data sheets inside of my caseload binder because I never know when I'm going to need them. So let's just take a look at what's inside real quick. Again, what could be inside your IEP binder may look very different than what I have inside of mine. And what I want you to do is keep an open mind, be very flexible when you're thinking about what this may look like in your own classroom with your caseload, and take what you can and what you want from this to build your own, okay? And so I keep all of my caseload information. Now, this is just a sample binder, so you're not going to see any student information or anything, but you have your caseload, school contact information, team contact information, grade team information. I like to keep all of this in the front because, especially when you're teaching multiple grade levels, you're working with lots of different grade level teams. And so sometimes they have different ways that they do things, and you want to make sure that you have everyone's contact information just in case you ever need anything. And again, with all of the different staff that are in your school, in your district, I like to have all of it laid out here. Usually I know that information off the top of my head, or I can start typing in an email and it auto generates right in the system for school. But I like to have it all written down, paper, pencil, because you never know. Then I have my caseload information. And so this is just a list for me to have because, that day where the IEP system is not going to work, it doesn't want to let you log in. I can have all of that general information here. I'm also going to have a printed copy, which I'll show you here how to organize that if you want to do that. But student name, grade, age, homework, disability, due date, services, all those things like that. I'm going to have all of that information in my caseload binder just to have at the drop of a hat if I ever need it. I'm also going to put student profiles in here, as well as IEP at a glances. Now, what's different about these is your IEP writing system may auto-generate these for you, and so you can just simply use that. If you want to make your own to have a little bit more information or some more specific information for a specific section or for a specific teacher, you could certainly do that with the IEP at a glances. I have my calendars in here, so my IEP tracking calendars, my reevaluation calendars, and then I have my yearly calendar. So this will also go into my planner, but I like to have just an extra copy in here. Parent contact, I have a separate parent contact binder, but I put this in here just to show you that you could have it as part of your caseload binder. The before, during, and after the IEP meeting checklist, you can have all of this ready to go. IEP meeting reminders, teacher reports, observation, requests for assistance, all of those things that the special education teacher can give to a general education teacher or other team member in the event that they want to request services for someone, or that I want to collaborate with them, or I reach out to them to do some type of collaboration. It's important to have all of that information in one place. Accommodations and modifications. So what is an accommodation? What is a modification? Different types of adaptations, lists of accommodations and modifications. I like to have those on hand to share with other staff members and other IEP team members throughout the different IEP meetings that we have. FBA and BIP. So all of my FBA and BIP data sheets, all of my transition data sheets, and this is where I would go into all of our different data sheets. So 504s, notes, different goal monitoring data sheets, all the rest of these are data sheets. And so I like to have all of my original file data sheets printed. I am very much a paper pencil person. I'm going to also link below this training different ways for data collection methods in the special education classroom. It goes more into detail about how I collect data, but there's different ways that you can collect data, and it really depends on you and your classroom and your caseload. So I'll link that below this training here. You can go watch that. It's here on YouTube as well. And so when it comes to keeping all of my data sheets, I keep all of the originals in my file because I am very much a paper pencil person. And I like to be able to just pull one out. I don't have to rely on technology. I don't have to log in. I don't have to make sure that there's ink in the printer. I don't have to make sure that there's paper in there, that I'm connected, that the Wi-Fi is working. Like I don't have to worry about anything. I already have a copy if I need to. If I know that I'm going to be using multiple copies of things, I have a very just run-of-the-mill binder. I made a cute little cover for it, but it's nothing crazy. It's just a binder with some page sleeves in it. And I keep multiple copies of the data sheets that I'm using all of the time. And so this is how I keep track of all of the data sheets that I'm using either daily, weekly, or monthly. And I'm putting multiple copies in here. And then the last copy in here will have a sticky note on it that says original copy, please do not use. And then I know or that I need to go make copies of that on my lunch break or on my planning period or before or after school whenever I have a minute. Or a para knows, hey, put this on my desk when you see that sticky note and I know I have to go make copies. Or if they have a minute, even though paras are not copy mates, they can help you in last minute situations like this or make copies of things for you, but it's not their sole job. So they know to put that on my desk when it's time to make copies of that. So that is how I keep track of all of my data sheets and all of my caseload information. I did mention that I do like to have printed copies of student IEPs. And so I pulled out some sample IEPs that I have here. If you Google sample IEP in your state, you can find lots of different examples. So that's what I did. So this is just a draft IEP of some fictitious student that I pulled again because confidentiality. So I just see even sample IEP. I will just have a file folder in my desk or my filing cabinet and it has the student IEP in here. That way, if I ever just want to look at it, I like to highlight things. I like to tab things, put notes on things. And so this is really just my copy for me. And then if I ever need to pull it out and the IEP rating system isn't working, I can pull out this copy here. But in addition to this, I also have student IEP binders. And what I like to do with those, these are also for me. These are not for students to keep track of, but you could have students keep track of their stuff in here as well. For me, it just made more sense for my students that I would keep track of this for them. And so what it is this is just a student IEP binder. I do color coding in the classroom. I'll link all of those blog posts and things. So I'm going to keep their progress monitoring rings in here, which I have videos on this, which I can share. Again, the data collection video is below this training. But we have the goals and objectives. So I'm going to keep a copy of that student's goals and objectives in here, any of their progress reports that we have from the last year. And then in each of these page sleeves, I have period 1, period 2, period 3, and 4. So marking period, or you could do class period of the day if you wanted, but that's where I'm going to keep all of those work samples in here. So you can see I have some different examples of just sample work from my student named Stephanie in here. And so if I ever need to go to a last minute meeting with a parent or meet with admin or pull any information on Stephanie, I can just pull her binder off of my my bookshelf and I have everything ready to go. All of her data is in here. I have a copy of her IEP goals. I have a copy of her progress reports to show how she's doing. I have work samples in here. I have notes from home and everything else as well. You could easily put Stephanie's IEP in this binder and call it a day and not have to store this in a file folder either. But everything is in here. I don't need anything else for Stephanie. It is all in here. This is everything for her. This is essentially her IEP holy grail in my classroom. And this is where all of her data lives and work samples again. So this is how I keep student specific information organized. If you do have a larger caseload, I've worked with caseloads of over 60 to 100 students. So I have a video on that as well, link below this training, how to do this kind of method for larger caseloads. And so be on the lookout for that below. The link is below here. Now, if you wanted to keep track of and put all of your data sheets, instead of keeping them in a caseload binder, I've kind of done that with, we have the intentional IEP website. And so we have a membership there at the Intentional IEP that not only gives you access to our IEP Goal Bank, but you get access to our IEP screeners for those pre-K through grade 6 academic skills. Screeners are what you may call our probes, our data assessments, your progress monitoring, your data collection, whatever you like to call it. Screeners are what those are. You print them off, you give that data probe to the student, and that helps you collect data on that specific skill. And so we have over 2,000 IEP screeners inside of membership. We also have a member resource library, which includes all of these downloads. And we also have the membership training area as well with over, I think we're almost at 200 trainings. But this is what I wanted to show you this binder because it is the best example of the copies binder, but with all of the data sheets instead of having data sheets in two separate places. And so what I did was I tabbed certain ones. I haven't finished putting the labels in here, but I just printed off regular. I just did this in PowerPoint, printed it off. And so I have all of my data sheets in here. I can store multiple copies inside of all of these different progress or all of these different page sleeves. And it's a really big binder. And if I ever need anything, I can easily just go pull it. I have extra copies. And so you could easily have a copy binder that looks like this. That's much, much bigger. I think this is like a 2-inch binder. So I just wanted to show you that in the event that you don't want to have a caseload binder with a copies binder that has all of the things, you could easily do it that way as well. And that it functions very well for me. So when it comes to organizing paperwork, there truly are so many different ways to do so. And I showed you this one way to keep track of student IEPs. This is another way that I have kind of developed on my own to give you more organization within a folder. So I do have a free training on YouTube. It's linked below this training that shows you how to color code the paperwork inside of your IEP folders to kind of help you keep that more organized. But this is also another way to do that. So this is one of those folders that has the trifold, and you have the things at the top that you can add more paper to. And so all I did was just made my own tabs and my own papers for different sections of the IEP. And so if I wanted to flip through, I could say, okay, what is Stephanie's medical information? I could look up and have all of that here and everything's ready to go. What are her accommodations? Okay, there's her accommodations. Let me flip this up and let me take a look. Oh, we need to look at the data that we have, the work samples. Here it is. Everything's in here ready to go. Everything is in here. These are really nice because they expand a lot. So you can really, add a whole bunch of paperwork to this. This is just a sample one that I prepped to show you. But then you can also have your IEP snapshot on the front so that you can see all of that key information right there on the front. So this is another way you could do your folders. When it comes to organizing paperwork that goes to and from with students, or maybe it goes to an inclusion classroom with students, or maybe you are traveling with these data sheets with students, you can easily travel with data sheets on clipboards. They're also, I haven't opened this one yet, but you can see it's from Walmart, the Home Edit. If you've ever watched that on Netflix, it was a great organization show. But the Home Edit made this clipboard, and it's a storage clipboard. That's what they call it. So you can see it's thicker. I can open it up, and then I would store other data sheets inside. I could easily have them in file folders. I could easily have them stored in different project or plastic sleeves inside of here to pull out different student information as I was working on them. I could have one per class period. I could have one that travels with me all day. There's a clipboard on here. I could easily attach a Velcro timer if I needed to. I'll add that blog post here for you, which is super easy. But there's lots of different ways to travel with paperwork to your different classes. Clipboards are my favorite way to do so because they are very inexpensive. You don't need a fancy clipboard, although you can have a fancy clipboard. You can just get a regular clipboard. I have the cardboard ones from the Dollar Tree for $1.25 and travel with those. You can easily color code them by taping paper on or getting duct tape of different colors for different students. Again, you don't have to have fancy clipboards to make the data collection work. If you want to make it fancier, that is truly up to you. So data sheets on clipboards are one of my go-to ways to travel with paperwork and keep it all organized when I'm traveling to different classes or when my students are traveling to different classes. And so that is one way to help keep me organized and keeps all of my paperwork in one place without papers flying everywhere or just teachers shoving the data sheets in my mailbox. They all just stay on their clipboard, and I will go collect them maybe once a week or at the end of every day or maybe every couple of weeks. And they just keep everything on the clipboard. I know to go look for a specific clipboard in their classroom and it's in a specific place. You can easily add Velcro to the back and Velcro to a wall, or Some of them have this little thing here, and you can hang it on a pin or a nail on the wall behind the teacher's desk. Make sure you put a confidentiality page over the front so nobody can see what's behind it to protect student information. But you can do a lot of different things with clipboards and keep your paperwork organized that way as well. Well, today we've talked about quite a few different ways to keep all of your paperwork organized. Again, you have lots of additional trainings below this training here, and they're all free to check out all of those trainings. You also have some resources linked below this as well to check out that you've seen today. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this has given you a glance inside of organizing your IEP paperwork, your special education paperwork in a more streamlined fashion. And if you have any questions or you want to share with me how you are organizing the paperwork in your classroom, I would love to see it. I love seeing how other people are organizing things. Or if you have any questions, please reach out, leave a comment, or you can send an email to support@mrsdscorner.com or support@theintentionaliep.com. And I would love to help you with getting everything organized in your classroom in terms of paperwork. Thank you so much for joining me for this training, and I'll see you in the next one.